Hello everyone and happy Friday. Welcome to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela Andrew and today we're going to be talking about the brand new integration between Mylio Photos and Printique. It's going to be a lot of fun and I'm going to show you some of the cool things you can do with this new tool. Before we jump into today's topic, I do want to let you know we have a lot of things going on for you right now. We have sessions being held by Lori Rubin. She is my counterpart. She's hanging out in the chat today. Going to be adding some helpful links as we go along, making sure I don't miss any of your questions. But she runs those first two programs up there on the screen. We have weekly live sessions to go over importing and organizing, setting up new devices, sharing and printing, and search, find, and filter. These are great sessions if you want to learn more about those specific topics. Jump into one of those sessions and ask your questions. She also hosts Ready, Set, Go, which is tailored for new users or anybody who really needs a refresher on Mylio Photos. Check that out. That's every afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific. I hold on Tuesdays and Thursdays open Q&A for anybody to join. So whether you have beginning questions or you've been with us for a really long time and you have something more complex and advanced, anybody's welcome. We cover things on photography, gear, family history, editing, Mylio, organization, anything kind of in that realm is fair game. So feel free to jump into those anytime. On Friday, we hold these sessions called coffee breaks. Today, we're going to be talking, like I said, about Mylio Photos and Printique and how to create some really cool, unique gifts. And then this week and next, we're doing a special series called Picture Perfect Presents. And this is all about gift giving. We're using Printique to create some amazing heirloom photo gifts with our images. So hopefully you guys can tune in for those. This afternoon, we're going to be doing a year in review photo book, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. If you missed some of the sessions earlier this week, we did a family recipe book, we did wall art, we did holiday greeting cards. Those recordings are up in the community. You can go and check those out. We had a lot of fun doing those, so hopefully those are interesting to you. And then next week, we've got some other great sessions planned. Don't wait too long on this. You want to make sure you're getting those gifts made and delivered sooner rather than later because those shipping deadlines are coming up soon. I also want to remind you that if you are loving Mylio Photos, you guys can give the gift of Mylio and give a gift card to a loved one, family member, friend, whoever you think would benefit from the organization tools in Mylio Photos. If you buy a gift card, you get a couple of months for yourself as well. So make sure you check that out. It's a great deal. Also, if you know somebody who is a new subscriber and they want to subscribe on their own, we have some amazing holiday deals that are ongoing throughout the month. So make sure you share that as well. Let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which is creating custom gifts, books, and wall art with Mylio Photos and Printique. So if you hadn't noticed and you hadn't been to some of these other Picture Perfect Presents sessions that we've done, we added a new integration. And if you noticed that an update popped up early last week, just before Thanksgiving, that's what this was all about. So there are a couple of bug fixes in there and this new integration with Printique, which is super cool. So we're going to go over today what is Printique, how to select images you might want to print, prepping them for printing, uploading them, and then different fun gifts that you can create. So that's going to be what we're doing today. So let's go ahead and begin with what is Printique. So it is a pro-grade printing service. It's run by Adorama Camera, which is, I think, kind of the #2 camera store in the US. B&H is kind of the biggest one. Adorama is probably, I think, the next one in line. And this is their print service. Now, there are a lot of great print labs out there. We chose to partner with Printique because we like what they offer. We like their quality. But that doesn't mean you can't use other labs. But that's what we're going to be talking about today because you can easily send your photos directly from Mylio to Printique, and it makes the process super seamless and easy to create amazing photo gifts. They specialize in things like photo books, wall art, calendars, all sorts of cool stuff. I'm going to show you here in a minute some of the things that I've ordered, and they're absolutely beautiful. They've also got a great website that's very easy to use. If you're creating things like a photo book, there's a lot of tools you can use to customize exactly what you're getting, do your different layouts, add text, lots of very, very fun things. So what I'd like to do now is show you some of the things that I've ordered from them to give you an idea of what you can expect. So let me go ahead and switch the view here back to just me. And the one I want to start with here is one of these little mini photo books. And this thing is really tiny. You can see it fits in the palm of my hand here. And I did one on my Oregon coast trip from last year. And I just added a few different photos to kind of go through some of my high points from this trip. And it was a trip I took with my mom, and I'm just so jazzed at how this little thing turned out. They're really quite affordable. I think it was like something like $15. And the print quality is lovely. It is tiny, but it's a really great way to put together some of those favorite shots. You can also add text and other things to these as well. I just focused on the title on the cover and then really just let my images shine. And it did a great job. So that's one of your options. Another option is wall art. And this is something I really love because I do fine art photography, and creating beautiful things that hopefully people want to put on their walls is one of my favorite things to do. So I did this canvas, and this was from my recent trip to the Eastern Sierra Nevada mountains here in California for fall colors. You can see it's a nice thick canvas. It's got all the mounting hardware on the back. It's really nicely finished. And they did a great job. So the picture quality is lovely. That is a canvas. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We also went a little bit more in depth on the canvas prints and some of these other options earlier this week when we talked specifically about creating wall art. So let me go ahead and go to the next one. Another one I did was a print on wood. This is a first for me. I've never printed on wood before, and I think it turned out absolutely awesome. It's ready to hang. And the print quality is beautiful, and it's very durable. It's a piece of plywood, nicely finished. Now the edges are not rounded, but they're not sharp either. So that's something to keep in mind. And I think it looks really good for this particular subject matter. A nice forest scene, fits well. You can see a little bit of the wood texture, the wood grain coming through. Same with the canvas. You can see that canvas texture through the print. So keep that in mind as you're creating these types of things, what might lend itself well to certain textures. Another one that was brand new to me was printing on glass. And I did this image, again, this is from my Eastern Sierras trip. This was a gorgeous, gorgeous sunset. And I just really love how this turned out. You can see it's very reflective, so you want to keep that in mind. It is fairly thin, but it is actually glass. This isn't just plexiglass, it's actual glass. And it's got the mounting hardware on the back. It's ready to hang. So that makes it a really nice gift for someone or for yourself if you're wanting to decorate your own home. And then finally, the last thing that I ordered was a print on metal. And this is one of my favorite mediums to print on. I love prints on metal, even so much that I love printing on metallic paper. Like, I just love the sheen, but in printing on actual metal, there's a bit of a glare you can see from my video lights there, but you can see it's very shiny. And the type of subject matter that lends itself well to these types of prints is usually something old and rusty with a lot of texture. I would say this is probably not the best medium for a portrait, though you can do portraits on them. I would say a canvas or possibly even one of those wood or glass prints might be a better choice if you're doing portrait work. But if you're doing stuff that's old and rusted and cool with lots of texture, metal is absolutely spectacular. It's very thin, very lightweight. It has a bracket on the back, so it sits floated off the wall. Nice modern presentation, and it comes with all the mounting hardware. So those are some of the things that I've ordered, and I'm very, very happy, and I can't wait to get them on my wall. The only reason I haven't is because I'm showing them in these events. So but I need to finish these events before I can go ahead and put them up on my own wall. So let's go ahead and jump back to the presentation here, and we're going to go in to learn about this process, this integration. So the first thing you want to do when you're choosing to make different art with your photos is pick out the different pictures to print. For me, that's going to be typically my fine art photography. I'm going to be looking for my absolute best work. Things that are 4 and 5 star, perhaps things that I've marked with a flag. That's how I go through and I mark images in my library that are the best. If you're looking for things that are meaningful heirlooms of different people, you might want to find photos of specific people using quick filters or of specific events in your library. So let's jump over into Mylio and take a look at some of these options for finding different images. I'm going to start here in all photos, and I'm going to go ahead and clear out my earlier filters and go here to the top of my list. And we can start here by rating, label, and flag. Take a look at those 4 and 5 star images. For me, these are going to be some of the ones that I'm going to be most interested in printing. I also might take a look at my flags. I'm going to go ahead and clear out the stars there. And this is going to give me an even wider range. So I flag certainly more than I actually give 4 and 5 stars. My culling system is usually I start out with flags. I'll do a pick or a reject. A pick means something that I like that probably want to work on some more. A reject is something that's probably going to go in the trash and get thrown away. And then once I've done my editing and made those images look their best, that's typically when I add stars. Now, sometimes I forget that step, so that's why I go back and look at the flagged images and make sure I didn't miss anything that's important. So those are the couple of ways that I go through and find my stuff. The other thing you can do is you can use quick filters to find pictures of specific people. So you can go down here by person and find photos of different people in your library. So let's say I wanted to pick together some pictures of my husband to send to his parents. I actually have a great picture of my husband and his dad. I'm going to go ahead and just pin this here. And I'm going to scroll through these images and find the one of him and his dad because it's an excellent photo. And I think it could be really good to frame and send to him. And it was a few years ago, so I'm going to have to scroll back a little ways here. I'm sure I could find it another way. There's going to be lots of ways to find these things. Here they are. These are great pictures. This one of my husband and his dad is just fantastic and probably would be really meaningful to print. Now, I think something like this, if I printed that on that wood, would look awesome and would make a great holiday gift for my father-in-law. So you can do things like that. You can also find things by different events. I'm going to go ahead and clear out that filter, close up by person, and you can find things by event. If you've created events in your Mylio calendar, you can find things that way. Let's go here into 2024, and I'm going to look for things from that trip that I took to the Eastern Sierras. So I'm going to go ahead and open up October here, and there's that Eastern Sierras trip, and I can go ahead and see all of the images that are part of that event. So that's another way to go ahead and find things. So you find things by event, you can find things by when they happen, by who they're of, lots of different ways to find those specific images. If you're looking for a specific item or object or type of scene, don't forget you can also use this by smart tag. And you can type in a smart tag up here to find specific things. So let's say I wanted to find pictures of my cats. I can just type in cat. There's that smart tag right there. Go ahead and click on that. And now I'm looking at all the cat pictures. And if you have someone in your family who's an animal lover, this might also be a great way to do it. So lots of different things you can do to narrow down and find that perfect image to either make a book with, to make as wall art, to make a puzzle, to put on their favorite coffee mug, things like that. Lots of great ideas. So the next thing we want to talk about is prepping photos for print. And you want to make sure you have an image that's high enough quality to where it looks good printed. If you're printing something really, really large, make sure that you have adequate size. And one of the brilliant things about Printique is if you upload an image that's too small, it's going to tell you. So there's tools out there that can help you with that kind of thing. The first thing I do in Mylio is I'm going to do some basic edits and cropping. So you want to make sure your subject looks good. You want to make sure it's kind of, balanced in the frame and nicely composed. Cropping can help with that. So if you're unsure of how to do that in Mylio, let's go ahead and jump over here to the app. And I'm going to just grab, this silly picture right here of my cat. And I want to crop this in a little bit tighter. Let's pretend I was going to print this. So I can go over here to the crop tool on the right. And I'm going to go ahead and just say duplicate and discard edits. There we go. And now I can go ahead and crop that. And I'm just going to go ahead and set to a free aspect ratio. If you're printing, you want to consider using a standard size. A lot of print labs will allow you to do custom sizes, but typically it comes at a substantially higher cost. So let's go ahead and make this a 2x3. And you can see we can reposition this here. And actually just cutting off that bit of keyboard there on the top. I don't really want to cut off his ears, but I don't need my laptop there in the background. But that gives you an idea of how you can kind of focus in on your subject. And we can go ahead and hit return. We've got it cropped. And we can go up here to our edit tools and maybe just do a quick auto color and maybe an auto tone. Gives it a little bit more contrast, a little bit more depth. From there, I might even pull up those shadows because it made it a little bit too dark. And there we go. So you can do whatever you need to do to make this image look its best before you send it off to the print lab. Now, if you need some additional help beyond what's in Mylio Photos, there are a lot of amazing third-party editors out there. Luminar Neo is one that I like to use for creative edits. It has a lot of really awesome tools. It also has things in there to help you like erase distractions. It even has some cool generative AI things if you wanted to play with that. but lots of really cool stuff you can do to make your pictures look amazing. If your picture has specific problems, let's say that file you have is too small. Maybe it's something that somebody texted you and they sent you a really small version of it, but you want to print it because, you know, maybe that's your kid in that picture. You might want to go through the process of upscaling that. And I use Topaz Photo AI for that. Now, Luminar Neo also has an upscaling tool in it. If that's what you have, use it. It's awesome. It's going to do the job. If I was buying a tool just for upscaling and problem solving, I think Topaz Photo AI does a better job at that. So they all have their pros and cons, but I don't want to tell you that you need to have all these different tools because some of these tools do a lot of different things that are going to work most of the time for most people. So those are just a couple that I use very frequently for different things. Topaz Photo AI is also good if the image is a little bit soft. Sometimes if you're using a very shallow depth of field when you're taking a photograph, maybe the tip of their nose is in focus, but their eyes are not. That's where something like sharpening can help bring out some of that detail. Noise is when you're shooting at, like say in a very dark area and maybe you had to brighten it up, but you get all those speckles of grain. Noise reduction and denoise can help take care of that. So those are just some of the problems that other software can help solve. It's not required. You can do quite a bit here just with Mylio and Mylio's editing tools, but I wanted to give you a bunch of ideas for how to make your stuff look its best before you send it off to the print lab, because there's nothing worse than getting things back from the lab and realizing like, oh my goodness, there's a big old dust spot there in the corner of my picture that I should have deleted. Or I didn't realize that there was a piece of cat hair on the front of my lens. I didn't zoom in far enough. There's all sorts of things like that that happen. And when you print big, any little defect like that can become more obvious. So pay attention to those details and you're going to get amazing, amazing prints. All right, so the next thing is going to be to upload those images to Printique, which is very, very easy. I'm going to go back and find that picture of my husband and his dad. And let's go ahead and we're going to upload that very quickly to Printique. So let's go ahead and go back here and I'm going to go close that up, close up cat. And I'm going to type in less. See if we can find this here. I've got, here he is by person, easy. And I'm going to go ahead, oops, I don't want that. I want to type in a G here to go back to my grid view. We're going to scroll back down, find that picture that we just had. It's not too far here, almost there. And there it is. So let's say we want to go ahead and take this image and we want to create something with it. We're going to send this to Printique. So I've already done some editing on this image. I'm going to go over here to the right sidebar, click on share, go down to post, and then we can choose Printique. If this is your first time using this option, you're going to be asked to log into your Printique account. If you don't have one, you can sign up. It's free to create an account, and then you're going to get this screen. It's going to have your file name, or it's going to have thumbnails here with arrows if you selected multiple images, because you don't have to send them one at a time. You can send a whole bunch, and you can also choose which gallery this image goes into. I'm going to go ahead and open this. You can see I have a few different galleries. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the Mylio Photos option here. That makes it nice and clean and easy. That gallery is automatically created for you, so if you don't choose anything, that is where it will automatically go. You then need to confirm that you have the right to publish this content. That means that either you took this picture or you have permission to have this picture reproduced. Basically, you're following copyright laws here. And understanding that Printique products can only be shipped to the USA and Canada. So let's go ahead and click post. And that's going to send it to Printique. Now, what it's sending to Printique is a full-size JPEG. If I go ahead and click out of this here and take a look at my info panel, oops, there we go. You can see that this is actually a JPEG, but if it was a RAW file or it was a TIFF or something else, what Mylio is going to do is it's going to send a unique version of that as a full-size JPEG to Printique. So that makes it very, very easy. You don't have to worry about settings or color spaces or anything like that. Mylio takes care of all of that for you in the background and just sends it smoothly over. So let's go ahead and jump over to our browser. And this is the Printique website. So there's a lot of cool stuff here. Up here at the top, it shows you all the different things you can make. And like I said, I think this is going to look really good on printed on wood. So let's go to wall decor and go down here to wood prints. Go ahead and click that, let that load up. And then you can choose your size. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose, let's see here, I think actually just a 4x6, something he can put on his desk or have small. Their house is pretty small. They have a lot of stuff. I don't want to give them something that's going to, take up a lot of wall space because I think that kind of stuff is at a premium. But a nice 4x6 or a 5x7. Let's do a 5x7 actually. Let's go ahead and say create now. And then that's going to take us into where we can pick our picture. So we'll be able to click right into the Printique galleries once that loads. There we go. Right here, Printique galleries. And here's my different galleries. There's that picture here in the Mylio Photos. I can go ahead and click that, and it's going to go ahead and bring that up on the screen. Now this image was cropped a little bit differently, so I can actually drag this and pull it down a little bit more. And you want to be careful not to be too terribly close to the edge because you don't want to have those edges cut off. So I might even pull this down a little bit more. And there we go. I think that looks really good. You can choose to make this a black and white if you like. That also, actually, that looks pretty nice too. Or you can just keep it the original color. You do have the option for color correction. If you've taken the time in either Mylio or you've gone into Photoshop or Luminar or something else to do your own creative editing, I would keep color correction off. However, if this is a picture that's pretty much straight out of your phone, you didn't do much to it, color correction might be a really good choice. It's just going to subtly pop the colors, give it a bit of contrast, and for many images, going to make them look better. But if you're really particular about how your image looks and you've already taken a lot of time to precisely narrow in on exactly what you want, then I would leave this off. This little quality indicator tells you based on the number of pixels that you uploaded, if you have a good enough quality image. It's saying I have plenty of pixels. And just to take a look back at the original here, this was a 3900 by 3100 pixel image, which is a good size, especially for a 5x7. So from there, you can go ahead and say add to cart. Go ahead and go into your cart, finish up your purchase, and get that shipped out. So there's a lot of great things you can make like this. I think this would make a really excellent gift for anybody. So let's go ahead and take a look here and see if there's anything else that we wanted to cover. I think we went through all of this, all of the steps you need. I have a little example here of the metal prints. Again, one of my favorite mediums to print on. I just think the sheen and the texture is so cool. So I think that's it for today. I want to go ahead and open up the floor to questions and see what you guys think about using this in Mylio Photos. What do you guys think? Any questions today? Looks like we got a good turnout.
Well, I'll just put a little statement up there. I love seeing what you printed. That's very exciting. I've also printed on acrylic, which is beautiful. And it makes your images nice and sharp. So that's probably one of my favorite mediums as well. But really awesome. I love seeing those.
Yeah, they're just so much fun. Like I just, if I go back here and switch the screen here, this metal is just, I love the metal. But yeah, acrylic is cool too because a lot of the acrylic face mount things, you can actually do different types of paper underneath the acrylic. So you can do actually metallic paper and then have that under the acrylic. It almost makes it look 3D. Have you ever done that, Lori?
Yeah, actually, one of my images, okay, I'm going to brag just for a second, is it was in the Smithsonian. And they actually printed it that way. It looked great. It was really,
That's
really nice.
awesome.
So.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you know, but Lori is an amazing photographer. We are so lucky to have her on these. And if you have photography questions, she is an amazing person to ask, especially if you are into wildlife photography. All right, let's see here. I do see a hand up from Steve. The floor is yours.
Thank you. After
Oh, I just lost you. Lori, are you able to hear him?
you know,
Oh, now I
Oh,
do.
okay. Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, Steve. I wasn't able to, I heard the first little bit and then that was it.
Yeah, not anymore.
Nope.
oh,
Yeah. Oh. I think we might have a bad connection, Steve. If you're able, go ahead and put your question into the chat. That might be an easier way for today. While we're waiting for that, are there any other questions or thoughts or feedback? How many of you think you guys are going to try this? And I would love to know what you're planning to make if you're making photo gifts this year. Go ahead and
I'll
let us know
probably
in the
make a photo
chat.
book beginning of the year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. It's been on my agenda
Anyone
to
else?
do for a long time. I did one
Yeah.
about 15 years ago. Kept promising to do it again, and just haven't.
Yeah, books do take a bit of time. It takes effort and time to put them together. Like just choosing the image is just part one. Then you have to do the layouts. Luckily, Printique does have some nice automatic layouts that it can pop things into for you. But even if you do that, you're still going to want to go in there and customize it, add some captions, and really make it your own. That's what's going to make it very special. All right. Any better luck, Steve? Let's see here. It looks like we have something in the chat. After yesterday's session, I created and ordered a puzzle, 2-week delivery. Okay, that's really good to know. Thanks for pointing that out. Again, if you're creating gifts like this for the holidays, don't sit on it too long. Get those orders in sooner rather than later. I would have liked to have started this series earlier, maybe a little bit before Thanksgiving. The integration just wasn't quite ready. So I know we're a little bit behind the game here, but that should get it to you, Steve, before Christmas. And I hope you enjoyed that puzzle. Let us know the quality, because I know you were questioning about that yesterday. All right. And Barbara says she wants to make a photo book for her trip to Italy. I would love to see that. I lived in Italy for 4 years, and it's an amazing place. And that making a photo book of your adventures is a fantastic idea. All right. Let's see here. Laura, you've got your hand up.
I do. Just want to remind everybody that this afternoon, Angela has another Printique webinar. What's really great about this one is that you might get a chance to win a photo book, and we've given out several. I always get super excited. We spin the wheel and and it's great. So if you want to join us this afternoon, it's going to be all about designing a year in review book, which I think is probably one of the more popular things to do for holiday gifts and the end of the year, especially for us photographers. So be sure to join us, and I will put a link to that one in the chat for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up today? All righty. Well, I hope to see you guys at our session this afternoon for creating that year in review photo book. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get to see some of my favorite pictures that I've captured through 2024. I still hope to get out and capture a few more, but we'll see. You know, things are busy, so who knows how much time I'm going to have behind the camera. So join us for that. And then next week, we've got a ton of cool stuff for you. Hope to see you then. If I don't see you this afternoon, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.